Oh yes. I don't know if are you guys a part of, are you guys a business service of the Konica Minolta, an OEM, or are you actually an independent dealership of Konica Minolta? Yes, I'm just curious. I looked at another video of yours showing the the installation of a, oh, dang, I've got the name of it. I think it's a C8000, and basically the aesthetic of the place looks very much like the 90s, you know, the happy times, the times when the photocopier industry had a real raw flavour to it. It didn't look like the new style of business where, you know, suits and ties and perfectly printed resumes and perfect communication skills. Well, it's not a term I like to use, perfect, but it's a term that you know, people use a lot. And well, we could say just near perfect. I like to think in grayscale, not black and white. Get it? That's funny. No, not really. All right. So basically, yeah, I'm all for good copy of design. I'm all for good environmental design. Take the environment very seriously. You know, I don't know what whether you belong to Konica Minolta proper or if your business service. I don't know. The industry's changed a lot since I last worked there. But I'm very sceptical about what goes on behind the closed doors of the big firms. But Konica Minolta, in my opinion, if I was to partner with OEM, I would pick them. I still think the Konica Minolta are in decline because I really think the Japanese do a better job at managing. You know, I think the Japanese have got more vision, generally speaking. Generally speaking, I don't say, again, I'm not like to play blanket statements, but for some reason I feel the Japanese are more switched on. Well, I'm talking, well, Konica Minolta Australia is, you know, they were a really nice company back in the 90s. Like, did work experience as a refurbishing technician for 3 weeks. I could have stayed there for 3 weeks and done it for nothing, but, or no, beyond that, but it was just a work experience. And it was it had a really nice flavour to it as well. Like, you know, the flavour of it wasn't, as I said, it wasn't formal, it was informal. I think that's the word I'm looking for, informal. It had a sort of a welcome. It didn't feel so cold and intimidating like today's industries. You know, like back in the 90s was a great time. I reminisce over a time that I see a lot of great talent was infiltrating the industry. You know, technicians and the like, migrants who were really hard working. I mean, I used to work for Xerox refurbishing plant in Sydney, in Mascot. We used to do some pretty dirty jobs out there, messy. And we had a whole bunch of, and again, you know, that decor you had, those pink walls and that, they look just like the Xerox facility decor that I worked, you know, back in 1990. So, damn, that was a long time ago. I was only 17. So basically, it felt different. Okay, it was a more welcome environment. It was a more informal environment, and it was really cool because you had all these migrant workers, right? And you had people that were really like, oh, there was some really crazy characters in the industry back then, and you know, it was an industry that felt really inclusive, like compared with today's industry, where, well, the thing I don't know if you're, normally I see that what they call them. Sorry, my communication skills. I've got Asperger's syndrome. Please excuse me. Haha. Okay, that's a bit of a cue, isn't it? Right. Let's get on to that subject. It's not just about the copier industry. It's about what happens to Asperger people around the world. You know, who don't get work in their favourite industries. You know, Aspies love to focus on one subject to the point of ad nauseum, and when they can't find a work in their industry, forget about me, right? I accept that I can't work in the industry. I've got other disabilities, so I abscond myself. But there are people out there who actually don't have disabilities. 85% of people with Asperger's syndrome cannot work. Why? No, correction, they are out of work because they cannot work because they're having their abilities dissed. I don't know if you guys belong to that that stiff upper lip culture, you know, the plastic smiles or the plastic frowns and the money-driven aesthetic. I don't know. I don't want to judge you without knowing too much. And it's just gone funny on my computer. What is that connection error? It's a bit bizarre. Still got the internet good. Don't have enough of that. Anyway, so basically, sorry, I'm rambling. Well, my concern is that the industry's overrun with normal people who don't give a fig about the industry, about the product. Now, it's all fair and well to have good customer skills, you know, to give good service to the customer and make them feel comfortable and welcome. You know, I mean, the thing is, you don't have to take they don't have to take the set. I don't know if it applies to you, but I'll just say that all the OEMs, the big company, the manufacturers have done this. They appear to have taken, you know, they can learn how to write code, normal people, IQ 90 to 110, but they don't do it with the same power and flair. They don't do it with an attitude of fun and games, you know, because fun is part of the workplace. If you don't like your job, you know, you're not going to do it properly. You're going to treat it like a homework hash job. Now, look, designing a photocopier is probably one of the most biggest, I don't know, I feel as if, you know, when we're talking about terrestrial objects that are designed to be used on the ground, on planet Earth, we're not talking spacecraft or aircraft, I reckon they're one of the most beefiest things you've got to design. Now, you know, I've seen what happens to students in class when they don't like their schoolwork, right? They like to play hooky, they like to play roadies, right? They like to take time out, they like to waste time, they like to throw paper airplanes, whatever. They'll do anything but concentrate on their task, right? Schoolwork. So if you don't like your schoolwork, now schoolwork compared with designing a copier, I reckon, is a walk in the park, really. But if you treat it like homework and you're just doing it just for the sake of some other reward, so the reward for doing schoolwork is that you don't get in trouble with a teacher, and that you do get, but then you have to sometimes do schoolwork. It's compulsory, right? But it's different when you're working, because if you're designing something big and it has to work properly, it has to work accurately, you know, if you do it like homework, then that is not acceptable. So there are people out there who worked in R&D back in the 90s. They had their careers paper jammed. They didn't get to fully realise their dreams, and so now they exist on the fringes. They don't work. They just do it as a hobby, and it's like a twilight zone. It really freaks me out when I watch all these YouTube videos of copier industrialists just doing it just for like an autoplay. No money, no rewards. Now, another thing to note is they don't have much money much of the time, but they have other collateral damage. They don't have social life that's any good. They don't have any. They also, most of them are, funnily enough, are not married. So normal people have actually sliced up not just the world that we wanted to work in, they've sliced up our self-confidence. They've wrecked everything, and the environment's about to go down. I don't know, as I said, I don't know if this is an OEM, I don't know if, but I mean, I say Konica Minolta might be the key to saving the copier industry, but it won't be coming through us sliding into the industry like in the 1990s. Photocopier art was being used as a way of humanising the technology and promoting it. You don't hear of it anymore. You just hear about, oh damn, money, capitalism, money. People in suits and ties and with a button-down attitude, which really I could almost die of boredom. I fall off my chair sleeping, you know. But anyway, and there are people out there who want to work in the industry, but they spend their time now doing this. That's what we call pulling cones, smoking marijuana, getting high, substitute for all the rewards in life. And they build these big houses they've got these houses full of hydroponics. Yes, you hear about them in tourist waves, and the chances are that's probably a ton ahead trying to escape. Yes, no one loves these guys. But I won't give up on them. You know, there's a guy out there, a scientist, he wanted to build a self-guided photocopier. He wanted to use all that stuff, you know, but we don't have a support network now. We're 20 years behind the clock. The clock is ticking, tick, 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 tick. I know these people can be used. Now, the thing is, my idea of an ideal copier industry is to basically say, well, we use these people, but we'll exclude the normal people because they've kicked us up the ass too many times. But I don't know if you guys, and you guys don't have that sort of aesthetic. So don't, if you're not in that boat, that doesn't apply to you. Not applicable. Void com. But I'll still keep that dream alive with my man. His name, he wants to design a self-guided photocopier, right? I'm an expert at working out how a copier system hangs, like how it works, how people interact with it. And I'll tell you one thing, I can work one out, and I'll tell you one thing, I'll pretend it's a school, I'll pretend it's an exam in the classroom, HSC, High School Certificate, Australia, alright? Right, so people have not been studying properly, they've not been doing their job properly, they certainly haven't been, I don't think the environment really is at heart for most of the companies. Again, Konica Minolta, I do have a feeling I try to do what is right under the power, but most of the companies will just pretend it's a school certificate or high school certificate. Okay, we mark the school certificate. You can tell when someone's been a slacker. Unless they're disabled in some way or they've been abused while they're doing their class, when they've been distracted, well, whatever. But if they're perfectly functional and not doing it, they're being slack, they're being lazy, you can tell, slackos. We know, I've read articles that people watch YouTube instead of doing their job on doing the copy industry. We all know that neurotypicals have an 8-hour cyclic clock. They have a circadian rhythm clock, which is very mechanical, and they only work 8 hours a day and they get very tired. Well, people with Asperger's syndrome, well, I don't know for sure personally, but many of us have clocks that can go tick, tick, tick. We could probably work up to 16 hours a day. So we're evolved for working with machines. We love machines, but we don't like sitting on our asses, and I don't like seeing a whole bunch of them sitting on their asses playing Xbox as a substitute, and they get told that they're lazy because if they can't find work. But again, if you're not in that category of mean people, I don't want you to take that on board. But if you can take that seriously and maybe pass it on to people who, because really, I'm sick to hell of this. And they're taking up taxpayers' money, and I don't know what to say. I think I've shot the message through anyway. I'm not a good communicator, but I still want to try. It's what we call do your best. Disabled athlete, do your best. A horse handicap, a horse without a weight on his back, should theoretically win a race easier than a horse with 100 kilos on his back. But if a 100 kilogram laden horse wins the race, we say that horse is going to have a better victory. It's shown up the horse with no weights. There you go. That's another term for handicap in horse racing. There you go.